Hi guys, so today I want to talk about neutrals and I want to show you how to create them, and I also want to talk a bit about how you can use them. So I've started with a red and a green combination. So as you can see, I have the red there. That red is a pyrrole red, and the green I didn't have in a bottle, so I put down some yellow and I'm going to mix my own. So we're going to start right there. So to mix my green, I have an azo yellow light, and I'm going to use a Prussian blue phthalo. So I'm just going to put the Prussian blue phthalo all the way up in the corner there because I don't want it to get in the way later on when we're painting. And as you can see, you don't need very much because yellow is a really light color, right? So I just start with the tiniest bit and I work my way up. And the green I'm after is that green. So you can see how intense that is already. And as I mix it, it turns into a yellow green, right? And that's not the green we're looking for because that's more like this one. We want the one that's right opposite of the yellow. No, of the red, excuse me. So I just keep going about mixing before I add more of the blue because I want to make sure that I've got all that yellow mixed in here. And I'm going to take about the same amount that we started with, and I'm going to put that in there too. Still looks like it needs more, so I'm just going to go put it all in there, taking a chance. And now I'm moving on to something that looks more like what we were looking for. So I usually just put my color wheel next to it to see if I hit the right color. And I think I'm going to need a tad more of this blue. I'm just going to keep going with it. Now, as I go, I think I'm getting close to something now. Maybe a bit more of the blue. Even a bit more. I think I put too much yellow down, but that's all right. I'll just save it for another painting. But I think I'm hitting the right color now, at least. Yeah, we'll say that's good, I guess. So now that I have my two colors, I'm going to mix them together. So I'm going to take some of that green and I'm going to add some red to it. And I'm going to go for 50-50 first and see what happens. There we go. As you can see, I'm getting a neutral brown color because these colors neutralize each other. And this is often what we think of as mud, right? But the thing is, let's create a bit more of it. The same amount of red as the green. The whole clue is that you don't want it to lean towards red and you don't want it to lean towards green. So if it looks too reddish, just put more green in there and neutralize it. There we go. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. So I totally forgot that I had a dentist appointment that I had to run off to yesterday. So I just made a new palette and now I just want to show you what you can do with these colors. So I'm going to start with this color that we made, the brown, and it looks pretty brown there. So let's put some white into it and see what happens when I add some white to it. Is it still brown? It's not red and it's not green, so I think it looks pretty good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to keep going with that color, and I'm going to try and make it into a different tone. So we're going to add some green to the palette there and then add some of that neutral color to it. And we're going to do the same thing. But when mixing like this, I usually have like a paper towel that I just fold and I have next to my water so that I can dry my brush off because there's a lot of rinsing going on here. Okay, so now we have this greenish color. And you see how that brown now turns into like a more green tone? And let's put some of the white into it and see what happens. And as you can see, this neutral is totally different from the other one. And now this one looks more red, I guess. So we could probably see if we can make this even more neutral, or if it's our eyes that are fooling around with us. So just make sure that your palette knife is clean again when you start, mixing again. So we thought this was a bit red now that we have the green there. So let's try and just put a tiny, tiny bit more of green in here and see if we can neutralize it even more. You probably never get it to be really totally neutral because that is really hard, and colors are relative. So one color can change depending on what color is next to it. So, but we're going to give it a try, see what happens. Okay, and here we go. So I'll put it next to here. And it looks the same, doesn't it, for now? And let's put some white in there and see. Maybe that's a bit too much with the brown. Yeah, it looks a bit more neutral, I guess. Not exactly the same as the one up here. But we could always go back now and see what happens when we put that first one next to this again and see if that makes it look red as well. That one's a bit lighter. Yeah, there's a slight difference. This one isn't as red as that one. So it's not always easy to balance out, but you can have so much fun with this, guys, because now we can keep stretching it. And I can do the same with the red. You can come in with the red and then the brown. Give that a mix. Maybe a bit more of the brown in there now. Let's see what happens. We'll put it here so we can see it next to the green. And you can see how pretty that is. Such a pretty color. And they work so well with each other. So we can keep going with the brown and put more brown in there and see what happens. It's still on the red side. I'm going to put it here. You can see that it's still on the red side. It's not as red as that, but it's still on that red side. And we're just going to push up some of the white. Put next to it. Yeah. So as you can see, the color changes quite a lot. But the magic happens when we start combining the red into the mix. So if I was to put a bit of that red here, you can see how that just lifts everything. Kind of makes these muted colors that we just made, they sort of become beautiful in a way because they kind of belong with each other, right? But we could try this another way as well. And we could just put down some of that pure red and then another patch of the green. And just see what happens when we add the different neutrals next to them. They just look beautiful together. And I could add the same ones to the red as well, just so you can see. I mean, there's such awesome combinations. And we could go the other way too with the one that has more red in it. I'll do that one on that side. And they just look so good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off and I'm going to try and make mini paintings because it's going to be even easier to see. So I'm going to start with the neutral. And I think I'm going to create two. So I'll do one down here too. And I'll start with the light neutral here. Make it even lighter. And then I can put some of it up here. And I can do the same with the darker variant here. Let's create some of that reddish brown. But this time I want it to be a lot redder than the one we had on this the last page. And I think I'll put that here. Let's add some white to it as well. And let's make some of the green as well. This green, maybe I should use this because I just want it, I don't want the really green, but now I added a bit more green to it. I had green on my brush, but that's okay. So let's use that just to see what happens when we get some green in there. And then I'm going to put some more green in it, and we're going to use that here. And I think I'm going to add some white, and I'm just going to have some more fun with it, maybe up here as well. I want this to be even more green. So let's keep going. Yeah, that turned out nice. It's a bit darker than the other greens here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get some of that pure green and we're going to add it to this one because the red and the greens love each other. Let's just find a good spot for it. I think maybe here is a good spot. So I'm trying to place it somewhere where the red will kind of complement it. And let's do the same with the red here. And you see how that red just comes to life because of, or all these dull colors also come to life just because of that green. So this is the power of neutrals. They really can lift a painting, and you know, you don't have to use as many neutrals as I've used here. You could start using some of the pure color and just add some white to it and play with it and just see where things go. And you can also add that neutral color to the mix, to your lighter colors. And just see what happens, right? After all, there are no rules. All right, guys, so that's all I have for you, but I hope you found this exciting and that you try it for yourself because that is the most important thing of all. All right, I'll see you next week. Bye.